Today was a wild one for crypto markets, bleeding red across the board. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, HBAR, pick your assets. Almost everything down. But while traders panicked, two massive adoption stories did drop. PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the biggest consultancy agencies on the planet, one of the big four, embedding Hedera's Guardian platform into their ESG practice. We also have Japan. A gaming company backed by SBI Holdings just announced a $17 million XRP acquisition for its corporate treasury. So is today's sell-off a bloodbath, the end of the bull market, or just a breather? And what do these adoption moves mean for the future of enterprise blockchain? We're going to be diving in today, so bear with me. The nice thing about kind of only looking at Bitcoin, and that's pretty much what I do at this point. I don't normally look at any of the alts whenever stuff like this is happening, or kind of just in general, is that you can kind of gauge where the markets are at. Bitcoin right now down 4.15%, $107,905 per Bitcoin. Yeah, you can certainly look at the other assets and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I still feel like we're not in a utility bull market. And until we are, it's kind of pointless for me to really look at anything else besides Bitcoin if I want to gauge where we're at kind of a zoomed out level. 95 of the top 100 cryptos are in the red right now. Global crypto market cap dropping to under 4 trillion. Bitcoin falling, as we just saw, about 4.15%. It was a little bit lower than that earlier. Ethereum dropped, XRP dropped. So I guess the question is why, right? Is this manipulation? Is it macro caution? Hasn't the Fed cut rates as aggressively as some expected? Or people just getting sick of the summer, which, liquidity seems to run a little bit more thin in the summer. Regardless, over $500 million in crypto was liquidated today from people's accounts. So is this more of a breather? And I will say, yes, this is more of a breather. It just depends on how you look at it. Are we going to go lower? I mean, if we go lower, what's the worst thing that can happen if you haven't over leveraged in your positions, things like that? You probably get a better buying opportunity for anything that you are interested in. If we go higher, everybody gets really excited. Maybe the markets go parabolic, all this stuff. Regardless, I've had this chart pulled up since, probably 3 years at this point in time, 2.5, 3 years. I'm still keeping this up. I still have September through October here as kind of interesting things to watch from a time standpoint. Obviously, don't invest based just off of time. That wouldn't make any sense at all. But I did do a study back in the day, a few years ago, and caught the bottom, but it was based on time from the halving. It was based on percent drawdowns and all that other jazz. But anyways, long story short, I hear a lot of people talking right now about kind of this utility cycle that's going to run into next year. And we're going to have a second, wind to the cycle. And hey, if that happens, great. I will say, still kind of an avid believer of the 4-year cycle, which has not been the most popular belief. I do think at some point in time that gets broken. I also think at some point in time, something might replace Bitcoin as number one. Doesn't necessarily have to be the assets even that we know about right now. But anyways, I don't really care if prices go down because it's an opportunity, and if prices go up, great, because we all want prices to go up in this market. But who's to know what happens? I will say, over the past 12 to 18 months, we have obviously seen way more real-world adoption than we've ever seen in crypto. And I think that it's a testament to just where this industry is going. Just yesterday, we literally saw GDP data going on across all these different blockchains. I mean, that should tell everybody exactly what they need to know about what's going to happen with crypto. And if that doesn't, stuff like this will. And I want to give a huge shout out to Tata, HBAR Tata, probably one of the best top 5, definitely follows from a researcher standpoint in the Hedera ecosystem. He stumbled across this. This is a document that just came out August 18th. PwC has officially partnered with the Hashgraph Group from this document. And this isn't a Hashgraph Group document. It is PwC announcing this right to you all. which is nice to see because we don't always have the enterprises or these big global entities themselves announcing stuff. Why is this big? This is about Hedera Guardian. So ESG enterprise reporting, carbon credits trading, all the other stuff that comes along with that. But for some context for you guys that don't know who PricewaterhouseCoopers is, one of the biggest consultancy agencies on the entire planet, 328,000 employees, 150 countries, 84% of the Fortune Global 500, generating over $53 billion in revenue annually. ESG compliance, also kind of in a broader context, is obviously exploding. The EU's CSRD impacts 50,000 plus companies. These companies are being mandated to comply. The SEC's climate rules hit over 7,000 public companies, and the ESG investment globally is set to hit $50 trillion by 2025. Guardian, which leverages and is built on Hedera, automates ESG reporting, reduces greenwashing risk, and gives enterprises verifiable data on chain. With PwC pushing it, Guardian is not just a blockchain pilot at this point in time. It could become a default compliance infrastructure for ESG globally. So maybe not as sexy as meme coins and some of the other narratives that float around in crypto that everybody gets all excited about right now for the, let's all battle for recycled liquidity in the small communities that are here right now. But just actually embedded into kind of the infrastructure. The same stuff that we've talked about for years with payments and settlements and what could happen with an asset like XRP if it had the right exposure to kind of some of these corridors, as well as enough liquidity. That's going to happen with stable coins too, though, payments and settlements. So make no mistake about it. Like, there's a reason why stable coins are 1,000%, in my opinion, a foot in the door for like actual global adoption. I think stablecoins are the catalyst to the masses actually coming into crypto and using crypto. But when you get into aspects like ESG, I mean, this is a very non-sexy topic, but this is something that 1,000% is occurring across the board with all these actual companies in the world. They have to meet different compliance standards. They have to meet kind of the green economy, milestones and all this stuff. Whether you like it or not, that's what they are doing. And if they can use tech to streamline that, great. So for some context, if even 5% of PricewaterhouseCoopers ESG clients were to adopt Guardian, that could represent like thousands of different entities, all indirectly anchored into Hedera's network. For those of you guys that are interested in how this collaboration works, PwC is essentially offering up the business enablement services to their clients. Hedera offering up the technology enablement. So you've got vision and roadmap, value chain mapping, and regulations mapping through the business enablement side, which is PwC. You've got systems architecture, implementation, and hypercare running through Hedera's lens, through tech. And you've got technology evaluation running with the collaboration between PwC and Hedera for some of these enterprises. So different environments such as carbon credits trading, green energy certificates, compliance certificates, water rights, digital product passports, which you'll see here in a second, plastic recycling, critical materials recycling, or paperless trade. I want to move into digital product passports. It is, in full disclosure, Genfinity has a relationship with the Hashgraph Association from a media standpoint. But I will say it's been awesome to be able to do interviews with entities like PricewaterhouseCoopers. These interviews that we were deep diving on this channel for years, PwC, Deloitte, hoping to see something from some of these other big entities, Boston Consulting Group's BCGX. I did an interview with BCG. This was a really good interview. This is Hussein from PwC talking about the relationship with the Hashgraph Group, the Hashgraph Association, Hedera. He actually wanted to title this interview, "Why Haven't These Crypto Networks Been Adopted?" or something like that, which I thought was pretty badass, because at the end of the day, it's one of the biggest frustrations that we have from the retail end. We see all these announcements, and then we're kind of left hung out to dry, and we're like, why aren't we seeing more adoption? Why aren't we seeing impacts directly on these networks? Why are we still kind of sitting here in 2025, waiting? A really kind of refreshing interview with Hussein here. But anyways, digital product passports are massive. Lifecycle management of products from kind of conception to delivery. And he's really very, very positive on Hedera as one of those ecosystems that could really actually do digital product passport management, lifecycle management of products, supply chain track and trace, all that stuff at scale. So I thought this was a really good interview, and go check it out if you're interested. He did talk about some of the problems with adoption, educational gaps, integration barriers, and trust issues. Really, really good interview, though. I wanted to mention that on top of that. And I also wanted to give, again, Tata a shout. He's the guy that found this, one of maybe 5 or less kind of deep divers in Hedera that are definitely worth following. All right, Japanese gaming company, XRP and Gumi, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, and I apologize, but backed by SBI Holdings. So I will say we just saw the Chainlink SBI integration like a week ago. So this hopefully gives the XRP community something positive to think about here. Just announced plans to acquire 2.5 billion yen worth of XRP, about $17 million or 6 million tokens between September and February of next year. This follows their earlier $6.6 million Bitcoin purchase earlier this year. Their strategy is Bitcoin for long-term value and staking, XRP for payments, remittances, and ecosystem participation within SBI's financial rails. This isn't a random speculative play. It's a corporate treasury diversification strategy, and it signals XRP's role as a practical utility asset for global payments. So while traders panic about a 4 or 5% drop, whatever may happen across these assets on a daily basis, institutions like PricewaterhouseCoopers, Gumi, SBI, they're quietly building their positions for the long haul and kind of that infrastructure for not only future proofing, but actually commercialization, operationalization that is built on distributed ledger technology rails. We are past the point of, just these proof of concepts like we were talking about in 2020, 2019, 2021 on this channel. I think we even saw, it was either the deputy governor at the Bank of England or somebody from the European Central Bank say that it's time to move past trials and move into operationalization. So long story short, before I leave, go into this site's pretty cool. They have unfortunately put it behind a paywall. BitcoinMagazinePro.com. It used to be lookintobitcoin.com, but you can still get some pretty, I don't have an affiliation with them or anything like that. You can still get some pretty decent indicators on here for free. Look into bitcoin.com or bitcoinmagazinepro.com. 200-week moving average heat map, golden ratio multiplier, fear and greed index. Like, you pull up the side scroller here and it gives you, there's a good amount of still free indicators that's, I think if you're not in crypto and you want to learn more, like just from Bitcoin standpoint, this is really, really kind of straightforward stuff. And I think it's kind of a tool. Oh, I want to give a shout out to XDC community too. Kraken announced yesterday XDC, or the day before yesterday, XDC is coming soon. Tokenizer also killing it. I guess another trade finance giant joining the XDC ecosystem. So shout out there. But anyways, long story short, the market pullback, if you zoom out enough, is obviously just a breather, not necessarily a bloodbath. Now, in the short term, whatever happens is going to happen. But like I said, my opinion at this point in time is if prices go down across the entire board, it is not the time to freak out and panic. It's the time to enact your plan, because you should have a plan if prices go down. You should also have a plan if prices go up. If prices go down, and we know all of this adoption and integration is actually occurring, that is a monumental opportunity to do your own due diligence, do your own research, and probably pick up some assets that you're interested in, that you've personally researched, not that some person on Twitter or YouTube or whatever has told you about, and enact your strategy, whether that's long-term or whether you're just trying to snipe something or pick something up at a cheaper rate. Great. If prices go up, you should also have a plan. You should not just be sitting here on a day, maybe your plan was to offload Bitcoin at 120,000 when it hit it, within the past couple of weeks, or some of these other altcoins, if Bitcoin went to that. Maybe your plan's not to sell. Maybe your plan's to stack your stuff in some sort of a retirement fund and just kind of let it ride out. Maybe your plan's both. But regardless, what I'm saying is you need to have a plan, because I'll tell you this, if we haven't topped yet, and if the markets do go back up again and they actually go into some sort of a super cycle where not a long-term super cycle, but one of these 3-week things where we have a parabolic blow off top, you're not going to be able to think straight. You're going to think that you can, but you're going to start getting the human emotions creeping up, greed, fear, FOMO, all the things that you do not want to have happen to you when you should be making sound decisions. And those sound decisions should be decisions that you don't have to think about because you've already written your plan down, whether we go up or whether we go down. Anyways, in contrast to crypto today, we talked about real world adoption, PricewaterhouseCoopers integrating Hedera. We talked about $17 million gaming company investing in the XRP ecosystem as well. What do you think? Is today's news more bullish than the price action? Are you freaking out over prices? What are you looking forward to? What do you think the market's where do you think the market's going to go? Anyways, I'll talk to you guys when I talk to you. And thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.